Hi there. This is your feedback for the pre-test essay. Thought this would be helpful to go through this through video since I'm having trouble annotating these. So overall, I really like this splash page. It's really impactful. Shows the process of getting the pipeline done. It's not quite done, and so the image is really good because it shows that there's still room for debate. And I like that you have kind of a subtitle here, who's the debate speaking to. So this is really impactful and great. Okay, so this first paragraph is good. Just watch out for some word choice. The Atlantic Coast Pipeline has promoted a debate. I don't think promoted's quite the right word that we want to use there. So just reading sometimes it aloud, like I'm doing here. Last Atlantic Coast Pipeline has prompted a debate on whether or not the pipeline will do more harm or good for North Carolina. Um, I think I even say prompted, promoted. So just be careful on word choice there. Um, so what you're doing here is setting it up nicely. You're showing the breadth of the issue here. Okay, so when you do so Steve Yost, the president of blah blah blah, and Pearl Finch, blah blah blah, great. Address the Atlantic Coast Pipeline in their columns in the News and Observer, great. So that lays it out. What you want to be careful is to italicize sometimes the publication, just to kind of differentiate that with the rest here. Sometimes just like, you know, putting things in bold, like their names, and setting aside like things like News of the Observer is in italics helps to kind of differentiate this. So this is very good organization, right? We're going to look at the first column, and then you're going through quoting him, which you want to be careful here. So when you're doing quotes and commas, you want to put the comma inside the quote here, not outside. So that's just a small thing. Um, so what I would try to do here, because this gets a little big, I think, instead of quoting, you could probably just paraphrase um, in here. And when you paraphrase an MLA, I think we've talked about this in class, you're going to create an in-text citation there. So, because I don't think, you can talk about, the cent difference here, but I think you can do that without having to quote him directly. You can just give us a general sense. I think what you do here, that there's he's saying there's fiscal reasons why, and that's a good way to set that up. Um, Perfect. Okay, so good. Next sentence. This is, there's a good variety of the way sentences begin. You have when. You talked about him as a subject. He, um, overall, this is good. Just be careful, like here, it's all Yost is the subject of these three sentences in a row. So just be careful because sometimes that can get repetitive for the reader. You're like this. So just be careful. Just try to vary your sentence beginnings a little. But overall, your style is really nice there. Okay, so moving on. So we're going to get to the second. Um, okay, so this is a little confusing. I think you don't need quotes, and sometimes this kind of rhetorical move, uh, is very tough to get around. Um, I think what might be helpful in terms because you're interacting with them. um, at the end of both these paragraphs. And what it might help you to do in terms of organization is just to kind of get out maybe in one paragraph together what they're saying in each of the articles, and then go into a analysis of it to try and kind of separate that um, out. Because I think what happens um, is you want to do these kind of rhetorical moves, but it gets confusing of like, is the paragraph about just informing me of the debate, or is the paragraph about interacting with the debate? So I think just kind of structurally changing um, this a little will help. Um, Okay, so this sentence is a little confusing because it's kind of like a blanket statement. We want to be kind of specific to what's going on right here. So communicating an argument to an audience is adequate, but persuading a variety of audiences, especially your target, is effective. I think that's like oops, sorry. That's kind of more of a blanket statement. So we want to be specific in our writing. Um, and the only thing that I want to do is, I'm so glad that you put a credit here. Um, just look on the MLA citation tool. You're going to need a little more on terms of crediting the picture. And at the end, even though you're talking about the two pieces in the Newsroom and Observer, typically in MLA you would want to put those two articles in like a works cited. And I think overall, what I want you to start to think about is like, how could we use pictures in terms of like, is there something about in some other article that talks about the financial impact of the pipeline, and then we could we get a picture of the potential wildlife impact. So just trying to argue with both pictures and images is going to help kind of make your argument even more solid. So I hope you found this helpful, and let me know if you have any other questions. Thanks.